Thompson's there, Billy in. A goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. This week on the drive-in, myself and Killer labelled this one as a must-win. Could Town find the cure for their travel sickness in the form of a pie as they made the short trip over the M62 to Wigan? Could they make it a happy birthday for our resident overbreeder, Mr. Kilroy Silk? Well, no. What followed was yet another abject away performance devoid of any bravery, in and out of possession as player after player looked to pass the buck of responsibility to one another against a depleted Wigan side on yet another League One cabbage patch field. I've had enough, plenty of fans have had enough, yet Town curiously remain in sixth spot, albeit with several sides now closing in on the last playoff place. Here to wallow in misery with me, Matt Shaw, is the birthday boy, Mr. IKS, Quasimodo, and there's been a defeat. So here's the Dom Reaper, ready to pick the bones of yet another carcass of a defeat on the road. How are we doing, boys?
Good. I want to introduce you to this fantastic human, Krusty the Pie, Wigan Athletics mascot. I mean, what a mascot this guy is. Smiling. What a pie that is. I don't know whether meat and titty or whatever, but just, that is a mascot, man. That is a mascot. Meet Krusty. And
that was the highlight of your trip, probably.
Dom, I was looking, just honestly, I found a beautiful walk from Wigan ground to the town centre by the canal, past Wigan Pier. Any old ravers will know about Wigan Pier, but honestly, in a nice cafe, you know what? Everything was beautiful, Dom, until that whistle went, and then it's just, we should have just carried on walking. Where do you end up when you go past Wigan? Is it Preston? Or that's just, honestly, mate, it just. Oh, there's no words, man, is there really? Like, we're here again, aren't we? We're here again, man.
Well, rather than walk off the end of Wigan Pier, which is what I think we all want to do right now, tell us about your dad's first away game for about 40 years. I think that's worth going into rather than talking about the game, to be honest. We'll avoid talking about the game for as long as possible.
A lot of young ones will probably have no idea about this, but his last game, incredibly, were when Huddersfield won up Bradford in 1988. And this was a game where we were absolutely garbage. We were relegated by March. It was often Bradford. Bradford did a write-up in there. I think it were City Gent, but basically they were the demise of Bradford City would trace back to this game, which I don't know if it was, but yeah, Ian Banks scored and we won 1-0, but we got relegated with about 18 points and Bradford didn't go up that year. And yeah, so it was time he came back. Obviously brought us luck with his last home game with the Sean Rowan. Yeah, I'll just score that goal from the halfway line, Ryan Ledson. So I'm bringing him back with anticipation. But yeah, you know what? My dad's struggling, but it was beautiful when like the crowd were chanting Huddersfield. You could see him tapping and on his knee and smiling, and he was proper getting involved like early on before like everyone else. Kind of the interest kind of it was struggling to keep with it after about 20 minutes as well. But quite emotional, really, because like I always think, how did you end up with Huddersfield Town fan? And it was my dad, really. And yeah, I'm always looking forward to like bringing him back. Obviously, he lost his wife in November, and yeah, the poor guy. Yeah, I had him there, but we had a fantastic feed. I'll have to quote this cafe later on in Wigan. Yeah, everything was great apart from the game, but yeah, just nice. And he will laugh his head off at my rant on radio after as well. So like, Yeah, I was like on at 10 to 6. Normally I come on a lot early, but there were loads of interviews and there were a lot of chat, and I could feel it all. But you know, when you're kind of building up, you should count at 10, but oh my days. I think everyone got, I think only the Terrier escaped the RAF and that as well. But yeah, quite a day. But it was funny before because we were chatting just like there. We got there about 11 o'clock because I just wanted to get us tickets early. We missed out on getting them the day before. And it torrential rain, so one of those moments where you can't walk anywhere, like over you do, and you get absolutely drenched. This guy, this Wigan guy, was with us, and I knew he was dying to talk to us. And here we go. He kind of starts. Oh, Joe Taylor says we've got no chance today without Joe Taylor. Says what a striker he is. How have you not playing him? Says he's chases everything. I thought, is this Joe Taylor that we know? Where it says he's been fantastic. He's honestly, I wish we could sign him. You know, Gary Caldwell's the man, but we won't beat you today. You know, it's no chance with too many men out. I says, mate, every time we come here, we see it get beat, apart from, I think, a one on New Year's Day. I think it might be in the promotion year, actually. But it says all that thought. Says, no, we've got no chances. If Ryan Lord had gone earlier, it says Caldwell will keep us up, no problem. But today, it'll be a game too many. And, geez, I just took one look at the scoreboard as I walked out with, like, I think, 2 more minutes of injury time to go, and I just thought, if I see him outside, I'll just fit. I told you so. So yeah, good day. Yeah, good day to get my dad out, but unfortunately, the first half were all right, wasn't it? But second half, oh my days, it were just so bad, so bad.
Let's reel you back in then, Cozzy, and we'll start talking about the game, which is obviously which we're looking forward to do. So Town's lineup. We didn't quite get what we wanted. Killer Hardy started, which was good, but we didn't quite get the 4-4-2 that we've been craving for. But systems versus intent is always another argument, isn't it? There's no point playing 4-4-2 if you've got no intent to get into the box and forward, as we saw later on. Apart from wanting Harness back in central midfield, I don't think there was much else we'd have probably changed. And it was nice to have our fears over Balker allayed as well, wasn't it? Although he did dress like he was fighting crime in Gotham rather than playing football. But other than that, I think it was as we expected, really.
Yeah, as a quick aside, Cozzy, that game your dad last went to was the day I was born, so it was 38 years ago today, just as a quick aside. Yeah, so we beat Bradford on the day I was born. It's been downhill ever since. It's been awful each and every time after it. But no, team selection, Matt, like you say, he says we expected, not necessarily as we wanted, because the system, we were after something quite different. But with this team, it's not even about the players anymore in what position. To me, it's that intensity. It's the old Fotheringham. It's is the press there? How high is that defensive line? And all that was wrong from the off. So whilst the players may have been on the team sheet in the right kind of way that we were after, or that we expected, or in a way that we think can work if they go about it in the right way, it was the same defeatist attitude I felt from the off, mainly around how deep we just generally play, and it quickly becomes a 5-2 ... 3 somewhat, with little support when you're doing any kind of press. It is the first game this season I've not been bothered to go to. I could have gone. I chose to play football this Saturday. First game at a new club, which is my old club. We were playing bottom of the league. We were playing top of the league. We knew we were going to get battered, and I still preferred that over going to Wigan. So if I'm at this point, there must be loads of other people like that. And I think, having gone back and watched the game afterwards, I didn't watch live. I watched afterwards. It's exactly what we all expected, though. I don't think any of us sat through, saw the lineup, saw what happened in the game, and were quite surprised either. We kind of knew what we were getting in for. We knew where we were going to be. And no matter who goes into this starting lineup from here to the end of the season, I think this is what we're at. I think this is what we are at the moment. And I think this is what we're going to be between now and May. And it's, okay, we're a little bit different at home, but away especially, it's just quite, depressing is not the right word, maybe sad, because the way we play is just so awful and just negative. I find it very negative way of playing football, that it's a tough watch. It's a tough watch and it's a tough sell. And I don't know what we can do to get out of the mess, because, again, player for player, you're looking at him and you're thinking he's cost $1 million. He's on over 10 grand a week, potentially. He's got a record. He's come back with this kind of reputation. And then you see them and they look lost. We don't look like a big hitter in this league whatsoever. And Wigan, this is what gets me the most, is that, like you said, the form is awful. 11 in 14, Dom, you mentioned prior to this, they've lost, or that they're so poor in regards to the recent form. Yet listening to their podcast prior to the game, even they all had confidence that they'd do us over. We've lost the air of superiority that we're Huddersfield Town, we're a big hit in this division. That's gone as well. And I felt like, okay, like you say, because it's gone into first half a bit there, we were okay. The fear factor of us have gone, even when you have a starting lineup like we had. It's just not what any of us expected at this point of the season. At least last year, it took until Burton in April for it to go as downhill as it has done this weekend. It was the right team names, but the wrong setup once more, Matt. And we've been through this so many times. And I won't even talk about set pieces yet. I'll leave that for later on.
I'll go a bit deeper than Killer on the away form. He said sad. I'm going to say embarrassing. 11 defeats in February for a team who've spent what Town have spent trying to push for the top two. That's spineless. Two different managers haven't been able to coax more out of this group of players. And the last three away from home, they haven't scored. I mean, at least at Wigan, you should be looking at the stats and, you know, the chances that Town did create in the first half that we'll get on to in a bit. And you could go, well, you know, at least they actually had some shots on target and they actually made the goalkeeper actually do some work for a change compared to the previous two away from home. But I just think it's diabolical. I think I was like most like Town fans that just went into Wigan thinking that, you could see them doing Town over. And that's what happened, where just problems at both ends, but particularly away from home. It's just been a theme, hasn't it, all season, of just how leaky Town have been at the back. So many individual mistakes, you know, and it was exactly the same last year, but I think we just all expected more, didn't we, this time around? And you can't get away from, I think certainly for on the set pieces, I know we'll drill down into it more later, but that they really miss players like a Jack Watmore, a Joe Lowe, and a Bojan for that physicality and the vulnerable. But then that still, to me, doesn't then excuse how Town are getting so badly exposed, particularly from corners right now.
I mean, you could see in that first 10, 15-minute spell that you could see that the way the game was going to go, because Town just weren't interested in the first half an hour, really. The Town do have a spell, I think 15 minutes before half-time, we're pretty decent and we should score. There's a nice ball from Barley Mumba to Cameron Humphreys, who makes a good dart into the box. He puts it across and he lays it on for Hardy, who hits the post. Alfie May could maybe do better afterwards. It comes to him fairly quickly. Then Sorensen gets elbowed in the face and the referee gives the free kick the other way. If you watch that from behind the goal, there's no way that that's a free kick to Wigan. The guy gets there first. I don't think it's a penalty. But he elbows Sorensen in the head. He jumps into him and elbows him in the head. And it's just like, and poor Sorensen's on the floor, half knocked out with a free kick given against him. I thought the referee was horrendous all the way throughout. But Cosy, Alfie May's now got 3 goals in 23 games. Dion Charles isn't the only one who's struggling in front of goal at the minute.
Honestly, mate, I was ready to go last week on Alfie May. Did a little bit, but I just don't. Do you say it's a great clearance, or for a guy who's paid what he's paid and expect to deliver another bad miss? Honestly, there's so many key misses this season, and that's why he was signed. You don't sign Alfie May and pay him that money to finish 9th. He was the icing on the cake. I remember being sat here when the Yellow Ticket game on Huddersfield signed Alfie May. May we have your attention? I think the social media post put before he came. I know he's been messed about and played all over the place, but the guy's got to deliver the goods there. You know, he's so frustrating, Matt, because he gets applauded off. I just think, Dion Charles has got some absolute dogs, but some of the stuff that, some of the misses that Alfie May's had there, rivals him kind of this season as well. And so frustrating because, you look and think, was he all that at Birmingham? You're kind of tracking back now, looking at his Charlton record. He was good, but just awful and kind of synonymous of the season, really. Just a great hope, an X-factor player, a man, to deliver the promotion, a head turner, a statement signing, and it's just not happening whatsoever. And it's always the same subs. He's like, when's Alfie May going to go off 57, 60 minutes? And yeah, it's so frustrating. And he's been banned. I said to someone at half time, I said, Alfie May's kind of done everything he can not to get Huddersfield promotion. He's been banned for 7 games. You know, the air pulling thing, obviously, divided opinion. The Wickham challenge can't be condoned, and missed some big chances. He's meant to do the total opposite, but he's done everything he can to.
It's hard because it's hard because he's only getting 1 chance every game. We don't get the ball up to him. We're playing him out of position. We're not creating any chances. We had how many away games without even a shot on target? Alfie May should be doing better. But when you have been in and out of the team, and I don't agree that we've gone over the Wickham sending. The Wickham sending off was, but the second one, Luton, I still think it's dodging. I still hate that rule. I understand the ins and outs of it, but I still don't like it. With Alfie May, we have one of the best strikers in this division, right? We had, and the reason why I'm not blaming Alfie May for this is Joe Taylor's just gone elsewhere, and he's the best player they've seen for years. Yet when he's with us, he just doesn't look the same. I know he did score, but he didn't look influential within games. We can't continuously go through strikers and blame them when you look at how many strikers come to us with good records and look like absolute joke of a player.
I would say though, Killer,
we just don't create enough chances, Dom, because the midfield and the defense is disgusting. The way the defense plays is 20 yards deeper. If you go back, even just with the highlights yesterday, look at every chance we can get. We have a bend, don't break defense, Dom, where our defense don't engage high. They're shitting themselves because they're slow and they're old boys. Murray Wallace might head everything, but he gets 50 headers a game because he's 20 yards behind where he should be, and everything's in front of him because he's terrified of the ball going behind him. He went behind him once yesterday. He nearly passed it back to Nichols, which Costello nearly got onto and should have put Wigan ahead earlier in the game. That doesn't happen. But the way our defense has been so deep creates that back 5. And then your midfield 2 that we have are pretty awful, to be honest. And if you're looking where the biggest issue is our entire team, other than the defensive line being so deep, it's our central midfield 2 between Ledson and Humphreys just offers nothing. They dominate no games, no matter who we're playing against. Whoever the other midfield is, they don't run the show whatsoever. When McGuinn was in there was a few moments where we did, because we could hold the ball. We could try and play through the middle. But defensively with Town and our midfield, when other teams come at us with the ball, it's so easy for them to break through. It creates a massive gap between the strikers. So when we regain the ball to try and get it upfield, it's so far to go that we just never get there. And that's why we resort to smashing it long, because the midfielders, I think, are actually knackered from filling that gap. Then they give up 15, 20 minutes in. And that's why we start okay. But generally, we tire off. Excuse me. Coughing here. So I'm going to cry. But we tire off after 30 minutes. And then we get a little bit of a second win normally after half time. And then it drops off again. We are so wrong in defence and midfield that for me, the strikers have got no help. There's no pace either. Barley Mumba's come in, but he's not really particularly fast. He's a bit Cameron Asher, where the ball's at his feet is nice at dribbling and can cause problems that way, but it's not raw pace. It's not your Van La Parra pace. It's not Joe Humbo pace. It's not that kind of direct running that they've got to stretch the field. So we're one-dimensional. And that's why Alfie May's not getting chances, and that's why he's only going to score 3 or 4 or 5 goals.
He had a chance against Rotherham last week before. He had a great chance, and a great chance yesterday. He's got to be scoring that, mate.
He has missed them. I am with Cossie on that. I do think I've seen him. He should have scored at least 4 or 5 more goals from the chances he has had this season. Killer's right that generally the strikers have to live off scraps. They haven't had anywhere near the sort of level of opportunities that they should be getting with the players that Town have got in midfield and in attack. But then what frustrates me with Alfie May is that I feel like he wastes so much energy, though, with the way he plays with, and we knew we were getting that with harrying and closing people down. He doesn't actually put himself in positions often enough to score goals.
That's because we don't get the ball there. If he doesn't do it, we don't get it there.
No,
whereas
but
at Birmingham, he didn't have to do
think
that. He played as a 10 centrally, and the ball came to him because he had so much more ball. We don't get the ball there, so he naturally has to drop deeper, and that's the issue. I don't think he's got the intelligence, though, Killer, either, of where sometimes maybe Lee Grant and also Liam Manning, in the time he's been there, have said to him, we want you higher up the pitch. That's where you're going to score your goals. That's where you're going to do your damage. I'm not sure he's got the discipline to play that. And I agree with the points we were also making about Town have messed around with his position this season, and that's not helped him develop partnerships and get that continuity by playing him as a number 10, playing him on the right, playing him in the front 2, playing him up front on his own. Like, Town haven't found like the formula to get the best out of him.
And you could see it being like a Joe Taylor going to Wigan, of where if Town sold Alfie May in the summer, probably the next club he goes to, you could see him probably fitting in, doing really well, because, you know, the manager, the coaching staff will just look at what his strengths, you know, how can we get the best out of him? But again, he's not got electric pace. I think it's also just where it comes back fundamentally to Town fans were happy when Town signed Alfie May last summer. Of course we were. We wanted him to come for so long. But then you're buying him for the here and now, aren't you? To deliver promotion. This is then coming back to Cossy's point of where for him to be sat on 5 goals in March, that is a desperately poor return. And that reflects poorly on him, the team, the management, that they haven't got more out of him. But it's not just him. It's that he's one of the big money signings. And then I've also been disappointed with Mumba. You know, really, I thought Mumba was going to come in and add a bit more X factor than what we've seen so far. And he's probably not the type of player that I thought Town were getting. I thought he was going to be more electric. You know, when you think of that goal he scored against Town when he played for Plymouth, dribble past players, I don't think he's that tricky, actually. I think he's quite a one-dimensional player, really, of where he's trying to beat you for pace. But he's not going to, again, do like Van La Parra tricks to goes past players, is he? To create that half yard of space. And so I just think it's Town's recruitment as much as anything that we've talked about loads before on the pod about has it been up to scratch? And the evidence of the last couple of years is that it's not been there, has it?
It's probably a signing we didn't need to make in hindsight, but we quite like Ryan Hardy, though, don't we? He looks a little bit like Killer. We like Killer. We like Ryan Hardy, don't we? It looks like when he's going to when he's fully fit, he'll be a real asset. And I thought, even though he was quiet yesterday, there's still moments where he runs the channels well and he gets into good areas and he pulls defenders around. He didn't get the support yesterday, but I do like Ryan Hardy. I like a lot of what I've seen, Cosy, from him so far. I think even when he's quiet, I still think he's causing problems and he's moving players around. He's an intelligent player. I like him.
I do. Obviously, yesterday again, sat behind the goal just like the week before in the win, and he just, you know, like you were saying there, Dom was kind of saying he's not got that intelligence. Maybe Hardy has, and he's clever, but he's expecting like ball to feet or I want it here, and you know, obviously Cam Humphries with it when he hit the post, you know, that was good work there, but there's not that kind of stuff enough really in that as well. So I just hope his experience will kind of not, you know, he coming short for balls and what have you and that. So I just hope he keeps doing what he's doing and others kind of get on the wavelength with him. But because we did say last week, didn't we, that like, you know, could May and Hardy be the kind of the two front? But yeah, I mean, stop going about what Killer's saying in the midfield. It's so frustrating. It's just not a promotion-winning midfield, that is it at all? And there's been no signs, you know, of it as well. You've kind of got a young guy learning his trade, you know, doing his best. And if you're going to get promotion, that's just kind of not really what we need. But it's so frustrating. A good Huddersfield Town midfield's not been seen since Aaron Moore, is it really? And you know, it's kind of looking back, it's so frustrating. Someone like Dwayne Holmes, you know, like going back even not too long, at least, you know, he gave you something a bit extra, a bit of a pain, wasn't he, for the opposition? Obviously, O'Brien in that midfield as well. But it's like someone where your opposition thinking, God, where are these guys going to pop up? What they're going to do? But he's so predictable and so pedestrian. And when you look at kind of what we signed, like we were saying, we've had so many strikers. Get a striker in. It's almost like Nagel, like kind of loves all that drama. And let's get the goals, these guys. But if you ain't got the ammunition, and I'll say what's frustrating as well. Like Ungbo was sent on second half to do a job on Sorensen, but he kind of did more in like 5 minutes than the rest of. We ain't gonna lie, how wide players did all the match. But it's so frustrating, isn't it? Because I hate going on about old players because that it seems to be a Town fan tradition, isn't it? Of, you know, we were good in that, but we saw what Ungbo could do before he went, and it was kind of ironic. He got a nice hand, probably more of an hand for Town fans than most of our players. But I thought it was a big reason why we lost the game. Ungbo, thought Caldwell spotted, you know, kind of what Sorensen. I thought we were doing all right first half, but it was a different story second half when he gave him something to think about. And I don't know if we're going to come on the second half now, but for me, Joe Ungbo now at Wigan, but he were big for them, and I thought he changed the game.
Just finish on the first half because Town push on, and they do have that. Like I said, they do have a good 15-minute spell. Harness does quite well. I think Sorensen's involved, and Harness goes down the right, and he pulls it back for Barley Mumba, whose deflected shot hits the bar. Then there's a few blocks. Alfie May again has a shot blocked. It's one of those where he does quite well to get a shot off rather than.
Matt, can I just ask you, if we go in front there, how do you think the game pans out? I mean, obviously you can never say for sure.
Draw 1-1.
Do you think you just retreat and just sit back and that, or I just thought if we get a goal here, I don't see them coming back because they offered nothing. But
no, we were offering nothing. We did, apart from that 15 minutes. The first half an hour set the tone for the rest of the game, and we were passive again. And it's a sickness of Huddersfield Town that we can't get rid of, and we've been.
And
like
this is what we spoke about, and we spoke about this in great depth the other day. We spoke about it.
Hate it.
Wigan are so good defensively. You can't be passive. You have to go at them from the off. You have to up tempo it, quick throw-ins, quick free, make it as high tempo as you possibly can. But for some reason, this Town team, regardless of the manager this year, has had this. We'll just wait and see what happens, and the game will come to us. It's like this over-reliance on. With Huddersfield Town, we've got a few extra options on the bench. Overtime, we're fitter than everybody else. It's like this weird ego thing that if we just wait a bit, they'll weaken and we can go later on. And what seems to happen is the exact opposite, in that it gives other teams so much more confidence when they've played us for 45 minutes and we've struggled and not really done too much. Like you say, we probably would have deserved to go in 1-0 up, to be honest, with the chances we created at the end. I thought Barley Mumba, to be fair, Dom, was good in that first half. I know he's not what we expected him to be, but he's just I think he's a plug and play kind of guy that, again, if you have a successful season and get promoted, you have players like him in that aren't standouts, but they don't really drop anything too poor because defensively they're strong enough and it kind of just does the job. And he's a bit like that. And if Hardy puts us ahead, I think we win this. I do think we win this game. I'm a bit different to Matt. I think we'd have been okay, but it's just, again, that passiveness that we have, the lack of real desire to chase games at any point, and it really is at any point, is ruining any chance of success this season. I think that's the biggest issue with the midfield as well. But just that, like I say, that lack of any kind of arseness to force issues. We just don't try and force anything. And I just don't know why. I don't know why we do it, because that's what you have to do at all levels. You see every other team doing it. Any decent team has a go at some point. I honestly think we are the team that gives it less of a go than anyone else. And that's probably why we have one of the fewest amounts of victories from behind over the last few seasons in any division, because
it's incredible how
really
Town, yeah, but it's incredible how Town have shown in Manning's time in charge, Killer, against Bradford and Luton in those two matches. It's just like how they've regressed so much from that first week he was in charge. That's what's just so alarming.
No, I think that proves kind of the point in that against them, when you're down to 10 men, tactics kind of go out the window. What you preconceived subs at this minute, they go.
No, but the first hour against Bradford, they bossed it. So if before McGuane actually gets sent off, right, that's arguably pound for pound Town's best team performance of the season. And I think what I would sort of add to what you were saying there before about where Town are at and what it's felt like all season is it's individual moments of brilliance. It's individuals of where it's what you say that the resources Town have got. We saw it at the start of the season of where players would come off the bench and score goals or make a massive impact in the last 20 minutes, half an hour. And we've still occasionally seen that. It's only been the strength and depth Town have had. And then the fact that they've spent so much money on accumulating these players that you just sort of think, someone's bound to come good. They're not a cohesive unit. They haven't been at any stage for like this season. Like that's just been a huge failing throughout.
How come we just have these contrasting halves though? And on it goes. I didn't think we were as bad as maybe Matt said in that first half, but the second half's a no-show. The week before, I thought we were poor in the first half against Barnsley, although some people were saying on that, on the voicemail we have, it's one as bad as some. That's as low as our bar gets now. We're comparing its badness to badness, but I've never known a season like it where you're just having halves of football where all of a sudden we look good and then we just, is it because the opposition are tactically adjusting and we're not adjusting back, or is it we think we've cracked it? We can't do.
We're 9 matches in. We're 9 matches in now to Manning's era in charge. And I think that's where there's huge alarm bells of like the contrasts in performances, just in matches of where you can go from having a good spell like Town had for quarter of an hour at Wigan, and then in the second half just not turning up. But we've now like seen that over a number of matches. It's the same things are happening, and then they're not rectifying and learning from mistakes that they're making from from set pieces, are they? Right now, I think that's what, in the long run, like this is where, if Town say miss out on the playoffs this year, don't get promoted, another year in League One, and then you're going into next season with Liam Manning, he then have a proper chance to build his own team and everything. But I think it's just some of these like recurring patterns though and themes of where these are like red flags. This is not like promotion winning culture that you're building. And so you had an initial sort of managerial bounce when you came in, and then we have it's like it's gone back to sort of Lee Grant days, hasn't it? Of where that's what we're seeing, of where it's too inconsistent. And the Town to be 20 points worse off than Cardiff with what Town have spent, and nearly 20 points worse off than Lincoln, who, I mean, it's just incredible what they've done this season. That's where I think the frustration and the anger is coming, isn't it, from Town fans? No one expected Town to be so far off the pace, to just be hanging on to the playoffs. Like that's the best Town can hope for this season. And then nobody really deep down believes that even if Town finish in the playoffs right now, who hand on heart thinks Town are going to win the playoffs?
Not a chance.
No, nobody does right now.
Not a chance.
So,
talk about the second half then. Town offered nothing from the first whistle in the second half. Manning tries to shake things up a little bit by switching to 4-4-2, and he brings on Dion Charles and Will Alves, but they offer nothing really at all.
I didn't get that.
I was going to say, taking Hardy and May off has been probably the contentious decision that Town fans are talking about over the weekend. Hardy, they're obviously managing his minutes, and to be honest, May was anonymous. But I mean, you're swapping anonymity for anonymity with Dion Charles coming on, because he's on the worst spell of his career, isn't he? With us so far, it's just. It wasn't really the positive change that we hoped it'd be, Dom. It just, at that point, I'm not saying it was like Town threw up a white flag or anything, but it felt like that Town's chances of getting a goal became slimmer by that double substitution rather than got better, really.
Well, Dion Charles, in over a year being at Town, has got 5 goals. So you need a goal, you're throwing Dion Charles in. I mean, it's no wonder it's not going to fill people with a lot of confidence, is it? And it's just, I think it's like a hammer blow, isn't it? Of where so you're taking off the guy in Alfie May that you put a lot of faith in was going to do the business, and he's misfired and has been deeply disappointing. And then you've got Ryan Hardy, who, like you guys are saying, I agree, I think is going to be a big asset for Town in the last 11 matches of the season when he's fully up to speed. But yeah, this is where they are, Town, of where you send Joe Taylor out to Wigan and he goes and does what he's done. It's like a perfect storm. It just feels like one thing after another is conspiring against Town, of where Joe Taylor's banging the goals in. Bojan's injured and is still weeks away from coming. So Town have got no focal point up front. All they're left with is Dion Charles. Other than, I suggested the other week, I would definitely see Cam Ashier up there. Again, as a wild card option, just to try and give something a bit different, because we've seen this movie before with Dion Charles. Like we saw it at Stevenage, we saw it at Doncaster Rovers. You keep doing the same things. What do they say? It's just definition of madness, isn't it? It's just what's going to happen.
Definition of madness is supporting Huddersfield Town.
Imagine you're a Wigan defender, right? And for first half, Town have had one off bar, one off post, right? May's missed 2 overhead kicks, one was blocked on the line and another one kind of was off the line, right? Hardy's hit the post, sorry. So the guys that you've just taken off are 2 of the best strikers in the division. From that moment, we'd lost that game. That is what cost us the game. And I understand the saying Ryan Hardy's got to protect his minutes. Hang on. He played 45 minutes the week before. You've had a full week off with no game midweek. He could have done more than 58 minutes. And that game is a must-win game, Matt. We went into this in great depth. We have to win this game because of the fixtures coming up. Port Vale and Rotherham are obviously, hopefully, quite not as straightforward as you can get. Port Vale's form is horrendous. Rotherham's form are horrendous. I know we'll get into that later on in a few days, Matt. Right, but after that, our fixtures are so difficult. We had to take 9 points. Realistically, we thought to make the playoffs, you have to take 9 points of these next few games because the games following that are quite difficult. And we aren't a great team. They're going to be challenging. Hopefully, we can kind of just work our way through it. But if you start with the 9 out of 9, you've got something to work at. You've taken off your 2 best strikers in the team for 2 lads. Alves, the week prior to against Barnsley, was embarrassing in his performance in that first half. He looked like a child playing football because he didn't understand his position that he was asked to play. And Dion Charles, and that was supposed to win or be enough to try and win a game that most of us considered must win. I thought it was an absolute joke, and I thought he was raising white flag. Why Alfie May comes off at that point, I don't know. Because if you need anybody on that pitch who's got half a chance to score, half a chance, he's the guy. It's not anyone else on the team, is it? And I know we can say, well, he's missed this chance, he's missed that chance. He's getting the chances. How many chances did Dion Charles have from that moment out? I thought it was poor.
Yeah,
and I think at that moment though, boys, to me, it was quite clear this season from now out will be Liam Manning's way. No matter what, we're kind of going to go about it this way. No matter what his formation, his style, we're going to keep going with it. And if it doesn't get us to where we want to be this season, that's fine because we'll go again in the summer. We'll bring in the right guys for his system and we'll crack on. My perspective of this season changed on that substitution. It's as important as that for me because I think if you're looking at that game as a must-win, like when Grayson came in and obviously the idea was just to get promoted. Whatever, I don't care. There's no long-term relay with Grayson. We just need to get promoted now. He's the best guy that can do it. Bring him in. Let's go with it. This is not what we've got with Liam Manning, is it? I know they can talk about wanting to get promoted this season. That's fine. It's very much a kind of his way or no way at the moment, and we're going through that process. And it's going to take a fair few months to get to where he wants it to be. And if this season fails because of it, I think that's something we're all going to have to stomach. But that's what I felt at that moment, because I don't think any Town fan can look at that substitution and think we had a better chance of winning the game there on out, having made that subs, than if we had have adapted it a little bit. Taking them both off, I thought it was a joke, boys. I really did.
Then it's the tale of 2 corners, isn't it? We've seen the Q&A video where they're laughing at zonal marking, and Liam Manning calls it hybrid. Yep, all 11 players are in a zone in the 6-yard box. Callum Wright pulls off to the far post, just like Blackpool did a couple of weeks ago, and he makes Nichols turn it over. Do Huddersfield Town switch on? Do they realise that this is something Wigan are going to do? Not at all. They then do the exact same thing again, and Town just don't learn. The lack of adaptability and responsibility from the players is really disappointing. Balker should do better with the header, but no one picks up the man at the far post again, and he just peels off. And at this point, Town have got 11 men behind the penalty spot in the middle of the goal to Wigan's 5 in that area. What's the point? There's 2 or 3 of them queuing up on the edge. It gets played back. Dion Charles makes a ghost clearance, and Weir hits a shot down the middle, which Harness thighs past Nichols into the net. It's shit. It's infuriating, and it's shit. The complete lack of responsibility from those players on the pitch is a joke. And it's the same after the goal as well. I'm just going to finish off and then I'm going to sit down and have a sulk and suck my thumb. What's really pissed me off in that last half hour is just the complete lack of responsibility from every outfield player. They're treating the ball like it's a hand grenade and finding just the easiest way to get rid of it. It's like pass the parcel when the fucking music's going round and you're trying to quickly as possible toss it to the next person when you're 5 years old. It's that lack of responsibility, making sure that you don't get it. And that's all Town do. They recycle it. They go backwards. They go sideways. Go backwards. Oh, I don't want it. There's nobody there going to get in the ball and go, do you know what? I'm going to drive this forward. I'm going to do something. I'm going to make something happen. Not one of them. Where's Ryan Ledson? That's the captain, and he's the worst one on the pitch for it. Shrinking violet. I'm so disappointed with Ryan Ledson recently. It's against Bradford and Luton, he was brilliant. He stepped up last week against Barnsley in the second half. He really stepped up. Yesterday, he's gone back to what we saw early in the season. It's not good enough. We need Ryan Ledson to drive us forward because there's not enough character in that team for anyone else to do it. Alfie May can do it or tries to do it. Ryan Ledson does it every now and then. No one else does it. No one else has got the bollocks to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, push forward, put a cross in, do something. Don't put a corner out for a fucking goal kick. That was just ridiculous, Sean Rowan's corner. That goes straight out of play. And no wonder he looked pissed off afterwards in his interview. He, to be fair to him, he fronted up. But, I mean, the performance was so poor after going 1-0 down. Where is the collective responsibility from these players?
It's just that's what it is.
Exactly. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough at any level. That corner, the second corner's rancid, Killer. You can talk through this, because if you see someone do something, they've obviously watched the tape against Blackpool and seen Blackpool pull off at the far post and do it. They've done it once. They've given you a warning. Switch on. Where's the captain instructing? Where's Murray Wallace instructing? Where are these leaders, these key players pointing? And it's so poor. It's so poor. And don't get me started on Dion's dummy, because that just topped me off.
Matt, what I was going to say is that it's inexcusable that happened again with the back post twice against Wigan. But I thought perhaps the worst thing is to not have anyone on the edge. You know,
that's what I mean. 11 behind the penalty spot.
No, that's incredible. They had 2 players queuing up there, ready to have a pop. You know, if that ball broke there, and that's what happened. It's just,
The fucking state of it, Dom. A few days ago, Chickens asked fucking Manning about this in front of Chris Markham, and they all had a giggle about how modern football's hybrid / zonal, and well, you don't see the ones you don't concede. Fuck off, man. Honestly, that riled me. Someone put a clip of that on Twitter straight after the game. Our zonal marking's been shy all season from corners, and we're sticking with it. And it's getting worse. It's getting actually worse. It's unbelievable how bad that defense is for that corner. Honestly, if any of my teams had done that once, they'd be doing laps after the game for hours, because it's embarrassing. No one on the edge and no one following the man at the back post. What? But we don't even have people on the post either. So where the fuck are they all? Like, what are we doing? I just don't get it. The fact when it goes to the guy on the edge of the box, Weir to put his shot in, right? We're fucking walking out. We're not even running out to him. We're just kind of walking out. Although I will say quickly, I think there were a free kick on that. I don't think it should have counted. I think Marcus Harness. Has anyone seen The Blind Side? Cracking film. I think Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for it. Michael Orr is famous because he grabs players and just pushes them back and over the scoreboard, right? Over the sponsorship boards. Harness got done twice. He got done twice on both of those corners. That was a set play. They cleared him out. They dragged him. Second time around, he got basically chucked to the floor. To me, the ref does see it, and I don't actually think it should have counted. I think it is a bit much, and it should have been a free kick. But it's football; it happens. I get it, and that's not what I'm ranting about.
Yeah, but Killer, if we're a proper team there, mate, there's about 8 players chasing after the ref, going, "What's going on? Come on, ref! It's a disgrace." For that, he's just like, "Yeah, that's."
Yeah, but they can't do that because they leave in the zone. They can't leave the zone. They've got to stay in the zone.
You don't
breaks
Killer.
to the edge of the box.
Zone D or Zone E.
Oh, just honestly, how can a professional team defend corners like that? Not once, but fucking twice in a row.
Yeah, let's have a quiz.
I've never seen 30 seconds. And
Killer, we have the same corner, mate. And let's say Ledson he plays the part of Weir. Does he A, try and crack it like that Weir did? Like, let's have a pot shot. Does he B, send it sideways, left? Does he E? Honestly, that guy, as the pitch went a bit up and down, but at least he thought a bit positive. I'm going to crack it. I don't know it got a deflection, but they tried to make something happen. We wouldn't have done that. We'd have just passed it sideways. It'd have gone out for the throw-in or something. It's just like, honestly, who dares wins, Rodney, innit? And I know it got a deflection, but that's what it was. And honestly, it's just incredible, innit? What happened? I'd love to peer through them bars by McDonald's at that training ground and see what goes on, because it's like Sean Rowan takes their corners and they just go out, and it's like, what? And then what? Did the people just like ignore it? Did Balka have that mask on over his eyes and stuff? Just like, what? I just honestly, it's
took
incredible.
It off. Took it off at half time. I think there was enough. It fought enough crime. I think that was it. He went back to being Bruce Wayne, didn't he?
Yeah, what about this protective boot without his head or something? Last week, honestly, man, it was so soul destroying, and the reaction was absolutely appalling, Matt. Like, you lost a bit of his spleen there, but it was just nothing. And the crowd were just, there wasn't much toxicity until about last 5 minutes. Everyone's just had one kick in the balls too many, mate. And it's like, I just compared it the last 2 Stevenage Doncaster. I don't even know where this ranks. Is this worse? But I thought Doncaster were awful. And like, Wigan's form's awful. We had Joe Taylor and everyone else who they had missing. And honestly, I think it's as low as you can get. And then you get back in your car and you see that league table. We're still in 6. I know there's got games up, but how are we still in 6? Like you said, don't we? Like 11 away defeats, and it's not a promotion team. It's not a team with any character. It's not a team you can get behind. It's just like there's everything wrong with it. And I know money don't guarantee success, but how can it be this bad when you've had this budget and two, one novice manager, one that's won a promotion with Bristol City? And I agree with you, Kelly. It's almost like I wasn't buying that Chris Markham thing. It was like, yeah, we're still going for promotion. And I thought that night, I texted a few people. I says, to me, that we've given up on the season, even though, yeah, but we're going for promotion. And to me, that were like, I think I mentioned it on the other pod, that were like, when you were used to nick stuff out of the biscuit tin as a kid. I don't know if everyone did that, but I did. And my mum used to say, have you been stealing biscuits, Richard? I'm like, no, Mum. But it's like, are we going for promotion? Oh, yeah, we still. And I just thought, no, mate. It's almost like you've come in here and it's like, it's a bit bigger problem than we think here, Chris. We're going to have to go again in the summer. And to me, that was just like laying down. And the team just represents that. And I can't believe the fall off. He's just getting. It's worse than anything as Grant did the last 3 away games, 100%. And
it's not as bad as last season, but yeah.
Biggest worry, Matt, for me is like, Killer, you were saying, we change it all about in the summer. Do we? A lot of these players are under contract. It's not like last year when we had 8 or 9 out of there. Do we? Some of these players going to move. It's like Dion Charles, is he still under contract? It's like he's not going to move on his wages and stuff. What about Bobby Wales? Anyone seen him? Where were they on Saturday at Wigan Pier? Were they having that cafe with my dad upstairs? £8,000 a week apparently he's on, allegedly. It's horrendous. Now he's not even. We're on about there no strikers and that. It's honestly, there's question marks everywhere you look, and what a mess this is. And if anyone listened to this and be thinking, where are this club in the league? These people are not happy, and we're 6. We've got as much chance of going up. Well, probably not factually correct than 3rd, but I just can't believe how it can be 13 defeats and be 6. And it's just incredible. I know we're probably not going to finish there, but it's honestly, I can't believe what we're seeing. And just, I had a look when I were on my way out with my dad, and everyone's haunted. Their faces, like people have aged like 20, 30 years watching these games. It's like, wow, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And the players, and again, the booze, the toxicity at the end. It's like, it's a horrible time. And honestly, it just feels like we're League One conditioned. And I agree with you, Kelly. It's almost like man said, right, you know what, we're doing my way, and we might have to do it in the next season, but I'm prepared for that. But I don't want to be in this division. I don't want to be going next year to Bromley, but I think it's happening.
You can't have any longevity anyway, right? Because Manning jumped ship historically as quick as he can anyway. I don't like that long-term view. It doesn't work anymore in football, because if he has a bad few months, he's gone anyway. If the players do well, they move on to a bigger club. So you can't, I don't like it. I think you have to always try and win. I don't like this kind of just closing seasons down. We tried it last year with Worthington and it failed miserably. And I feel like, although it's not Worthington and we've brought in a proper manager that we are going to have over the summer going into next season, I still feel like, again, the subs kind of made me realise a bit of an existential crisis as a Town fan, that it isn't necessarily about this season. It's not do or die. Whereas for us as fans, it always is, isn't it? It don't matter who you're playing, it don't matter who we're playing, where we're playing, the reality of the game. We don't really care. We just want to win that game. And that's why going to away games is always so exciting. Doesn't matter what your form is. If you win away from home and it makes you go from 18th to 16th, you're buzzing when you leave the stadium. You're happy all weekend. Instead, Matt sat here sucking his thumb for the last 5 minutes after he's had his own little rant, because it just means that much to us. We just cannot handle it. We can't handle it. And I think that's, again, what we need to see on the pitch. And at the moment, I think, well, we all know we're not getting it. And it's just,
I think we thought we'd turn the corner
hard.
That week of Luton, Bradford and Peterborough, I know we should know better and we've been here before. I honestly thought we'd turn that corner. Players were doing stuff we'd not seen before, like Dom said, in them 2 home games. And so I know there were a bit weird games with 10 men, but I thought this is it. And then obviously McGuane, but honestly, it's just incredible. As one man made such a difference to us that it's like, I just can't believe it.
On a side note, Killer mentioned it before. I did find it a bit strange that they did the Q&A with Chris Markham and Liam Manning the day before Doncaster. One of the most important matches of the season. I really do question the timing of that. We're going into the crunch period, and I would have I don't know. You can only do that then if you've been on a really good run, but it's not as if that's what Town have been on, is it, with Liam Manning? But Killer is right in that. In football generally, it's very hard, isn't it, for a manager to build anything. but particularly at this club, as a manager hasn't seen a season out yet under Kevin Nagel. So we're not used to stability under Kevin Nagel because, well, we haven't seen any stability under Kevin Nagel, and all the success stories so far under Kevin Nagel have been off the pitch. They've certainly not been on the pitch. As we approach 3 years, the club have only gone backwards. So, yeah, that's why at some point they have to really try and make things work with a manager.
Yeah, so Town's only response near the end is a long-range shot from Harness, which Tickle, he deals with poorly, actually. Gets a little bit lucky. He tries to push it over the bar, but it ends up landing on the line and spinning backwards. He kind of gets away with one, but when it's not your day, it's not your day. Town's away shitness, I was supposed to say then. It started at Wigan last year. At the same time, 25th of February, Town turned in a bit of a horror show again. And since then, we've had 30 away matches, including the Wigan games. Guess how many of those we've lost out of those 30 games? This is, bear in mind, this is a promotion favourite. A team that's...
I'm going to go 19.
Top 2.
19.
Killer?
18.
It can't be 20, can it? It can't be 20, but it's
20.
Close.
Town have lost 20 of 30 games.
It's the first thing I've ever won on this podcast, Matt. Look at me. Oh,
These cup games, Matt. Just league games, a cup or what?
Cup as well. So they lost at Harrogate. So, the loss at Harrogate. I've actually got Sunderland down as a draw because it went to penalties, but you can count that as a win if you want. 7 wins, 3 draws, 20 defeats. And this is a team that's supposed to be pushing for a top 2. It's scandalous, the away form. How do you fix it? You can't really, can you, until you get some characters in the team. Jack Watmore, I think, is a big miss. I think Joe Lowe's a bit of a miss, to be honest. He's just his height. Watmore, but Watmore, McGuane, does it transform it enough, Killer?
McGuane does. Our midfield is non-existent. I think, genuinely, Herbie Kane would make our midfield better. There's another lad that I want to talk about at MK Dons who I think could have given a little bit of some urgency in that midfield, or he chose at least a little bit more than Humphreys does.
He's got him in this week again.
Maybe not.
Here we go.
He's got to get it
every week.
Well, his brother's teaching my daughter how to play table tennis at Kirkburton. So
get up to Scarborough and watch his brother, mate. Yeah.
But no, I think McGuane's really important to the way we play midfield because what he brings is something nobody else in the team brings. Control. When Marcus McGuane has the ball, we have an element of control. You have your quarterback that knows when to shift play, speed it up, slow it down. He's not as good as Aramoy. No, he's not. But he's got elements of his game that brings the similar things that Aramoy does to a team in that kind of midfield role. We miss him because Ledson isn't a ball player whatsoever. Humphreys is a 10. His move for Hardy's chance in the first half was fantastic, and that's what he does best. That's what he does at Wickham. We're the first team that tried to play him in this defensive midfield role where our 2 midfielders barely leave their own half for most of the game. It's not what he's natural at. We've put him into this weird role that he isn't for, and we wonder why it's not working. McGuane's a massive difference. But the biggest one, Matt, is Bojan Radulovic, isn't it? Which is still surprising to say, considering how the seasons have gone with him previously. But he's just a unit that if you can't pass through the midfield, you need somebody up top that at least fight and scrap that then you can pick up the seconds from. Nobody else does that. And Ryan Hardy's position is great. Is at this level elite. Alfie May is dogged, right? He will run all day, more than he should. And obviously, like you say, doesn't listen to his managers. But what Radulovic gives you, which is, again, something we never thought we'd ever see with him, every single time he goes up for a header with a defender, it's never a clean win for the defender. Even if Radulovic doesn't win the ball, he does enough to make it awkward for them. And it means you can play football a different way. When you are hitting the long ball from Murray Wallace, he fights and then you can play off that. And that's when our best form's been this season, when either McGuane's been in or Radulovic up top. The pair of those two missing, and it's just not there. I do think what more makes a difference because you can have a higher line if Wallace is not in it as well, Matt, like you mentioned. But it's that control. We just don't have control. We're very, very one-dimensional at the moment. And that's why I think after half-time, when teams have figured out how one-dimensional we are and how they can use what they have to counter it, we get whooped. We get whooped in more second halves. And it's just, other than Barnsley, a group of old men that really struggled after half-time, everybody else has kind of grown into the games and got better and better and better. We just aren't that. And even Blackpool, their second half wasn't great, was it? But Fletcher struggled then a little bit. You can go back to these games and you can see where things have gone better for Town. But generally, if both teams are fit, we struggle. And it's because we have no element of control anywhere in the team.
Town are arguably missing, as Killer points out there, like 4 first-team regulars and it's also the spine of their team, and it's a lot of the height, the physicality, and that's where Town are coming unstuck from set pieces right now. So that is, I think, in legitimate sort of defence for Liam Manning right now, who is getting a lot of criticism, and I think a lot of it is fair, but then, you know, it is right. We should be saying that, you know, you put those 4 players in the team and you'd like to think Town would be significantly better. But where it doesn't wash is you still look at the bench that Town had at Wigan yesterday, and you still look at the strength of the squad. And Cossie mentions that you've got Bobby Whale, who can't even make the squad. So many teams in the division would love to have the resources and players that Town have got at the disposal. And so I think that's where it comes back to the manager is still relatively new in the door. But when you've had a whole week to prepare for Wigan and then you put in that performance, that's where it doesn't wash, and Town fans shouldn't have to stomach that.
Yeah, Dom, I bet Snoop Dogg's happy down at Swansea, innit? Because £8,000 a week we're saving. Huddersfield Mugs, boy, baby. Yeah, honestly, Bobby Wales, it's got to be up there with floorboard judges. I don't. Why words? What? If you
after Cosy, after your attempt at rapping, I think we better go to the Andy Takes That Chance squad for a bit of a cool off here, because I don't know what the hell I've just listened to.
Mate, that Snoop Dogg thing the other day were incredible. I just think the world's just gone mad on it like that. What is going on?
No, you've gone bloody mad after that. I think we need a little bit of.
When are we going to hold this bold man responsible?
I think now is the time to hold you responsible, Cosy. Let's go to the answer phone. Let's calm things down, shall we, by going to the Andy Takes That Chance squad. I'm sure there's no froth and no anger or anything on there, and I'm sure everybody's happy. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what they've all got to say.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Bouvet.
Hello, there is no one here to take your call. So for your convenience, we have answered it automatically. Now don't hang up. When you hear the tone, leave your name and a brief message, and we will contact you upon our return.
Calling from Manchester here. Same problem as last season, this really, isn't it? We're seeing the same problem last season, but we've got massive gaps between defence, midfield and attack. We're putting square pegs in round holes. Manning's doing the exact same things that Grant was doing before him. To say that we're meant to have a director of football that's meant to be an analysis person, to think that he would be pointing all of this out. So either it's a player issue, which I suspect it is, because we've signed a load of mercenaries. We've got a load of midfielders that are lightweight once again. Same problem that I highlighted last season. That we've got players that can't handle a shoulder charge. Martin Killer pointed out this summer that we've got defenders that were slow, that were pulling us too deep. So you end up with massive gaps between midfield and attack. We've then got attackers that are either playing in a number 10, and we're not getting the best of them. Alfie May. Albeit today he was absolutely horrendous, and some of his performances recently are just unforgivable. We've got Dion Child, who isn't a lone striker, never has been a lone striker, works his socks off. He is pretty hopeless, but also, again, he's plowing a lone furrow a lot of the time because midfield's nowhere near him, and he's never going to get the service off them. He's just looked bereft of any ideas. Consider when we went down to Peterborough, we harassed them, we harangued them, we stressed really well, as we did doing this sort of Bradford game before the McGuane got sent off. This team just looked so passive. I think this is just years of a really confused transfer policy. Just go out and sign players that have done well at the level without any kind of coherent plan about how any of it's going to fit together, and then get a suitable manager that will get it all to work. Just got loads of players that are built like mice, have the heart of mice, and I'm sick of it. And I think every fan is sick of it because we know where this is going.
Hi there, Dean Smith here. Wow, that was bad, wasn't it? For the second season running, our recruitment team have completely fuck this up. Everyone knows League One, you need big, strong, physical lads, bit of pace, but most of all, you need them to be over 5'5". For some reason, we saw last season that it was a case of we got bullied. Blackpool at home, I remember just watching them swat us like little flies around. Happened again this season. All they've done this season is replace small guys with slightly better, and I'm not saying miles better, just slightly better small guys. We must have the smallest team in the whole league. Nagel said that he was going to address the physicality, the sizes of the players come the end of last season. They haven't done. They brought Joe Lowe in, who's obviously quite a tall lad. The rest of them, just dwarves everywhere. It's just baffling that you look at a League One squad and you are playing a team of dwarves. It's bizarre. Over and out. Bye.
Yeah, they can all f*** off.
Hey, it's James Barterby doing a review of that shower of shit at Wigan. Awful performance. A couple of flurries in the first half where we had, was it the Ryan Hardy one off the post and then May off the line. And then there was another little scramble later on and Harness's long shot. And that's all we had to show for our trip across the Pennines. Game was lost on 57 minutes when he took Hardy and May off. I mean, that was just a ridiculous decision. Surely you leave one of them on. If Hardy has only got an hour in him, then you leave May on and push him up top for a little bit at least. It was just limp, toothless. They didn't want it. There was no urgency. Glennon said it in the commentary. Going into 6 minutes of injury time, you should be putting your centre-backs up front. You should be pushing everyone forward. We had free kicks, taking them short. It was just a limp, disgraceful performance. We phoned it in. We didn't show any effort, any passion, any fight. And it's looking really, really likely now that we're going to be in League One again next season. So up the town.
Jimmy is up here to talk about the Wigan game. Incredibly annoying. Almost hard to put into words, but I'm going to try. This team, time and time again, when we're chasing a game, just shows a lack of urgency. We fail to build up any sort of pressure. They amble around, they make poor decisions, they play short passes, they play backwards, they give niggly fouls away, they let the opposition wind the clock down. It's like they've got no awareness of the time and what's at stake at that point in the game. And it's so annoying. It's really annoying. And I think a lot of that stems from Ledson, because when he puts in a captain's performance, and we know he can, we win most games. And when he doesn't show up and is anonymous like yesterday, we lose. And he's supposed to be our leader, but unfortunately he's just so inconsistent. And I want to see players rushing, grabbing the ball, looking like they care. It's just, this inconsistency is going to kill us this season, and it's incredibly annoying.
Malcolm Murgatroyd in Martham Road here. I couldn't even tell you what score of that Huddersfield Wigan game is because I left early. I left after about 75 minutes and it was still 1-0 ticks there. And I've come home and I've started rubbing my scrotum against the cheese grater for a bit of light relief because I tell you what, that were diabolical. I've seen some things in my life, lads. You know, I've been supporting this club for 117 years. I've seen people bloody skewered in Boer War, the second one, not the first one. I've seen entire villages brought to rubble by napalm in Vietnam. And I've gone over twice in Elmond. I tell you what, I have seen all sorts in my life, but I've never seen out as bad as Huddersfield Town under Kevin Nangle. This bloody football team is an absolute disgrace. I did an article on your website a couple of weeks back by a really handsome sounding man called John McNamara. Don't know who he is, never met him in my life, but he sounds handsome. And he said it's all the bloody fault at recruitment, what we're seeing now. Historically bad recruitment since Kevin Nangle came into the football club, and I couldn't agree more. Sean bloody Rowan, you couldn't pass water, you pleb. Sod off back to Athlone or wherever you come from. Leave off!
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Right, so thank you to everybody for leaving nice, calm, tranquil messages for us on the voicemails this week. Okay, don't have much more to go into. Killer, you were walking around the woods spying on some women a little bit earlier today, weren't you? Do you want to tell us about that while you're on mute?
Oh, Killer.
There you go, Matt. It's all right. I was thrown because your camera's frozen yourself and myself. But I was with my wife, just for full clarity. Now, I was having a nice little walk today. We walked from Shepley to Thurstonland to Farnley Tyres and then through Stores Hall. And as I was walking through Stores Hall, the town women team were playing. And as I got there was a penalty decision given against Durham for Town. Oh, I have to say, Durham, by the way, their coach was unbelievable. Their coach, not the actual person, but what they drove down in, was phenomenal. It was like an alien spaceship. It was massive part there at Shelley. But no, I managed to catch most of the second half, and Town Women looked pretty good, actually, the way they went about it. It's not the greatest of pitches, is Shelley. It's pretty muddy, especially at this time of year. And obviously it makes the game a little bit up and under. But they scored a penalty in the 55th minute and then managed to see it out and win 1-0, which is good as Cos. You can go into a little bit more in how the seasons are going. I don't actually know where Durham are in the league, Cos. Where are they? Because obviously they made hard work of it today. Somewhat.
Yeah, they're about
get the win, but that's all that matters.
Yeah, they're 5th or 6th, Killer. But yeah, it's kind of as you were really. It looks like it's going to be like a 3-horse race between Tamworth and Sean Leeds. But again, like I was saying last week, them 2 points they've lost that they're appealing against, they could be crucial, kind of at the end. But you look at I know a lot of people do this. I've got John into it, but you know, when you look at a running and things, and they should win this, that, and the other. Obviously, with the men, it's impossible to predict anything. But really, they should be all right from here as well. But yeah, just after last week's high against Leeds, yeah, nice to get a win today. Matt, you've frozen, mate, but we can still hear you, so no worries. But you said there's nothing else to discuss. I just want to bring something up, Kill. Obviously, you were part of that ATT meeting, which we've all seen now kind of minuted on the website this week, and the only thing I want to discuss about is like the losing 2,000 season card holders, but almost like, you probably might be able to put me right, Killer, but it's almost like the club were like, well, yeah, but we made a profit by putting the prices up, so it's almost kind of justifies that. But I just think it's so sad that we've just lost 2,000 people to, you know, maybe some of them's paying on the day and coming in, but 2,000 people have said, no, we're not coming to Huddersfield Town. And just like Matt said, no, now I'm not doing this podcast anymore. He's just probably come back on, but I don't know what you guys think, but just sad, really. And what I get is mathematics and, you know, facts and figures and stuff. But and we knew we'd lose a lot of season caddies, but just to see them 2,000 fans like not renewing, and then you're thinking, obviously we've talked a lot about tonight, and a lot of them voice notes on about League One football. Maybe next year we know the price increase again. That was quoted as well. I just, you know, obviously Sean Jarvis lurks like a shadow in the background and stuff, but it's almost like all that good work that's done is just slowly getting eroded. And yeah, we're going to be at sub 10,000 crowds coming on the way. I don't want to be a doom merchant, but it's almost the club are like, yeah, you told us the prices were going up were a bad thing, but we've made more money, you know, but we've lost 2,000 people. Like season caddies are probably doing something different now with the Saturdays, and I just think that's sad. I don't know if you guys got a view on it.
I hate it, Cosy, to be totally honest, as HSA chair for now. There might be an update on that shortly in the next few days. Breaking news there for you. However, for my opinion on this, it's more that I think it's more important that more people from Huddersfield and the surrounding areas get down to watch them. I think the more people that get there, the better the club can be. Obviously, Dean Hoyle went about it his way, and it was the most successful period in modern Huddersfield Town football. And we did it on the back of affordable season tickets. I think the feeling you get when the ground is full, like against Bradford this season, still as a one-off. But the more people you have in there, the better the atmosphere, the better the team can be. I think it can make that much of a difference. We always travel well in numbers away from home. We're at home this year compared to last year. In most games, it seems pretty lacking, but that's what the club is nowadays, Cosy. I think we were quite lucky to have it for a decade where it was all about getting more people down there. There was still a monetary element to it, but it was a lot more of a community feel, wasn't it? It was kind of, we were like a small club overachieving, whereas what we're kind of going with now is more that for this league, we're a massive club and we will charge as such. But this is the way it is at the moment, and that's what you get as an American owner, I guess. That it's a little bit more monetary targeted, and he has the right to do it. It's his club. He's the current custodian. Personally, I don't like it at all. Because I'm with you. I think when you lose 2,000 people, getting them back is more difficult than keeping them.
Yeah.
I myself am in this boat. Like I only have a couple of years left playing football, and now our season ticket prices, where me and Matt sit, are quite expensive at the best of times. And if I'm going to miss next year 6-7 games because on Saturday I'm playing football instead, it makes it more of a decision for me. And again, if I'm reconsidering, how many other people are? That's the way I kind of look at it. I am.
The pay on the day prices are the cheapest. You'll 18 quid. Like I think Scarborough and I go is like 17 quid. So he'll argue about, well, hang on a minute. But I just think, just like the way football fans are channeled, I just think they just get have a bit doing stuff, Killer, and they'll do different stuff with the Saturdays. And it's like, although you could maybe argue, well, they had the season card before and people weren't turning up then. But the pay on the day prices are really reasonable, and quite a few people have probably jumped on that. But obviously, fortune dictates, and people won't. There'll be the Rotherham game, and I dread to think how many were there on Saturday. Another 12:30, you know, after what happened yesterday, and it's just like it's so sad. But yeah, just to see it in them minutes, just like in bold black and white figures and stuff as well. My overriding thing was just sadness, really. That 2,000 people have decided no, and then you're thinking next season and stuff. And again, it's always debatable when Bradford do what they're doing, but it's like whether with the 22,000, I don't know if the other week they'll get slaughtered where they played Stockport, but it's almost like they're kind of getting what we had, and obviously the momentum of the promotion. But it's sad, and so many people, it's like just, I know that the away followings have been quite good, surprisingly, to be honest, mate, with a lot of the performances. But I just think, again, it's, you know, push coming to shove, we're going to probably lose 1,000 more. And I don't know what you think, Dom, but obviously Sheffield Wednesday, like, it's incredible. They've paid ridiculous prices for years and still an amazing loyalty there. But there's only so much people can take, can't they? They're just on and off the pitch if it's not happening. And yeah, on Saturday we do different stuff now, and we'll just watch it on a stream. And
to use a Jake Edwards-ism, if you are upping the prices from a position of strength, then people may tolerate it more. But the fact is that the product on the pitch has only gone one way for nearly 3 years. So that's where I think some of the anger comes from town fans, of where, okay, you've invested a lot in the team, at the infrastructure, buying and owning now the stadium, done a lot of great things. And you know, when I went a month or so ago to the Blackpool game, it was the first time that I properly looked around again at, you know, you go in the store, you go in the H-Town, you see everything, you know, and he has modernised in it. And I think that, you know, that's where you do give Kevin Hagel a lot of credit, of where he I think has brought everything more up to date with the stadium, and it's now got more of our stamp on it. But then, yeah, it's not good, is it, when Huddersfield Town fans are staying away, or maybe feeling like they're getting priced out of watching their team. And you saw in the Wagner years that when you get the momentum going, and when you're getting the ground full, and we've seen it once this season with Bradford, then the snowball effect that it has. And also, it's the money that you make by the more punters that you get going into the ground. It's everything. It's the merchandise. It's again, that's programs, that's food, that's shirts. You know, like, that's to me the bigger picture of, it's the value of, you have a full stadium, you're getting more bums on seat, and then it's creating a better atmosphere, and it's creating a better vibe around the football club. And it does feel, unfortunately, like Town are going a little bit away from that, and that, I think, is a big concern. in the long-term future for the club.
Yeah, medium, short, long, all looks great, doesn't it, so far? So I think that's all we've got time for. That's all we've got time for this week. It's just been one of those pods on it this week.
We haven't got a game in midweek, so I'm taking the positives. And the training ground, plenty of time on that training ground to get us going. So
Working on fucking set pieces, hopefully, with a bit of luck.
The home form's pretty good compared to the away form. We lost 2 games, haven't we, all season at home in the league, which is
Matt, you've jinxed it now, aren't you?
I think we'll be all right. But I think that's all we've got time for this week. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Remember, sign up for the Patreon, www.takesthatchance.com. There's been a couple of articles this week. Joel's Thoughts is now hopefully a weekly appearance.
Not away from home.
Yeah. And player ratings as well. So thanks, everyone, and we'll be back next week with more fun and frolics.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.